The two TV series, The Jeffersons and Mad Men, both invoke ideas about race and gender in suburban society. In the pilot of the sitcom TV series The Jeffersons, the couple Louise and George argue about hiring Louise's friend for a maid job. While George completely supports the hire, Louise feels skeptical about it since she thinks it is wrong to employ one of her friends to work for her. In the pilot of Mad Men, the main character, Don Draper, must find a new pitch to sell cigarettes without addressing its cancerous components. The Jeffersons gives Louise the spotlight as a black, female entertainer to trump ideas of racism in TV networking through her interactions with other characters, and resonates with the female crowd in the suburban home, whereas Don Draper establishes himself as a masculine, dominant white male in the suburban space after selling his pitch. Louise's character is a product of the policy of integration without identification, highlighted in Murray Foreman's article, Employment and Blue Pencils. In the 1950s, incorporating black entertainers into the TV industry posed a dilemma for racially biased TV companies since the main focus was keeping high volumes of white audiences. This angered many black audiences, thus starting the civil rights movement within the TV industry. The incorporation of Louise's character in The Jeffersons embodies the result of this movement. In one scene, Louise is viewed in a living room with Tom Lewis, a white man. In the establishing shot, there is no dialogue in which Tom is offensive toward Louise, but rather both the rhetoric is peaceful because of Tom's openness to help Louise solve the argument with her husband. In addition, they are portrayed as equal citizens because both live in the same apartment building. This scene allows Louise to comprise of elements of approval in suburban society and personifies the idea that it is possible for blacks and whites to live in the same suburban space despite differences in skin tone. The screencasting that portrays these aspects of Louise is used as an apparatus to mitigate the negative effects of racially insensitive programming. In other words, to eradicate racial biases against black entertainers by establishing Louise as a casual citizen in a white society. The screencasting formation of Louise also empowers her character as a model for the feminine populace. Harlovich's article on sitcom and suburbs establishes Louise as a model for suburban housewifery. In arguments with George, Louise constantly tells him that she has been her own maid for the apartment and can maintain it for both of them. Her tone is passionate and unyielding towards George, which allows her character to feel accredited for her services around the home. This essential discovery of her character resonates with females as an indication of empowerment in which the housewife is able to constitute the value of her labor outside the means of production. To explain this, Louise deems George's intention to hire a maid unnecessary by already demonstrating the capabilities of a maid and rejecting the notion to have another housewife in the home. In contrast with Louise, Don Draper comprises of elements of masculinity that establishes his dominance as a male in the 1960s suburbia. In the establishing scene of Draper's pitch to sell cigarettes, Draper is viewed several times in a medium close-up shot from a slightly tilted low angle when presenting his pitch. To tilt adds dominance Draper has over his peers. He speaks stutter-free while also in a suit, allowing him to disperse a vibe of confidence. These elements of masculinity Draper has hints at his character of a husband that is later confirmed at the end of the pilot, where his wife is at home waiting for him on a bed. This scene strongly indicates that this is exactly how Draper wants her, where the elements of Draper's dominance expressed during his pitch influences her to dress seductively in order to please her husband in the means of the home. Betty Friedan quotes a psychologist in The Feminine Mystique. The housewife waits all day for her husband to come home at night to make her feel alive. In relation to the quote, Draper's wife represents every aspect of this statement as she is a victim of male dominance given the social standards of women in the 1960s that propagated that the housewife is meant to please her husband. Ultimately, The Jeffersons is a perfect example of a TV standard set after the civil rights movement that incorporates equal portrayal of interracial characters airing on live TV while also implying elements of the prototypical housewife. In a similar manner, Mad Men establishes Don Draper as a husband in the 1960s that dictates the role of influencing his wife based on social norms at the time.